Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Radio Geonosis, where we talk about Star Wars from a certain point of view. I'm Angie,
I'm Aaron. What's up, guys?
and today we're going to be talking about top 10 Star Wars books, our top 10, and I also made a list of what is a must-read Star Wars list.
A must read?
A must-read, so
I
you
wanna
must
actually check-
read.
I actually want to check that book out. And
Our guide.
She always brings like encyclopedias of books.
You have to have visuals. But before we do that, I'm going to go over some hot happenings of this week. So, yeah. So I'm going to be doing a troop. I know we talked about this last week, but I'll be doing a troop at the Hollywood Bowl with the Saber Guild on August 9th, and we're going to be trooping the Empire Strikes Back concert. So that's really cool. There's going to be an orchestra there. They'll be showing the movie, so it is really a cool thing to see. I have gone there for I guess a montage of Star Wars. I went there for Harry Potter, and I also saw E.T. So it was really, really cool. Also, I'm going to be doing Movie in the Park. I asked Aaron to join me. That will be with Rebel Legion, and it will be August the 18th, and it's going to be from 6 to 8 before they show the movie.
That's crazy.
So,
that they're coming up here.
Yeah, and I know I was really excited when I saw that on the calendar. I'm like, what? A troop 3 minutes from my house and not down the hill? So that's really, really cool. Another interesting thing is Disney is seeking to get back the cable rights from Turner for streaming purposes. So TBS always shows Star Wars on their channel, and Disney is trying to get that back.
Because they're having a streaming service.
Right.
Well, too.
So they want to do all of the movies. They don't want anyone else to have the rights to that. So they've been trying to get that.
There's a lot of fighting going on.
I know. They do that in the galaxy as well.
They're used to it.
All right. And then also Rogue Squadron is born. The Marvel's Star Wars number 52 review. I don't really read comics, but that is up if anybody wants to take a look at it. So I thought that was kind of cool too. So they are doing reviews on all the comics too, because I think they're trying to do the comics to bring everything together.
Okay.
So I mean, and it'll to me, it makes sense to do it like that because they want everything to come in. Like we talked about Vader's Castle last week.
Yeah.
And they're doing a comic book based on that. So, so then it makes sense. So why was he on Mustafar in a castle?
Where would he reside?
Yes.
Wherever there's lava, there's Darth Vader.
Yes, he wants to be reminded of pain, absolute pain.
Yeah. that was a castle. Well, I thought it was like a mining factory or some kind of.
It was.
It was, huh?
Yes,
yeah.
he turned it to a castle.
He turned it to a castle, okay.
Yeah, it turned it to his lair.
That man's sick.
More than we know. Ashley Eckstein signed some top trading cards. One that she signed, there's only 10 of.
Okay, so
one
it's
of them that she did. Yeah, they're exclusive. I looked up the box. It's $150 for the set, but it's like a 1 in a million chance you're going to get her card. That's signed because she put it in the boxes, but there's only 10 of those cards.
Good luck.
And some kid who's going to rip them up and doesn't really care.
Yeah, they don't even know what's going on, really, huh? That's the sad part about it all.
Yeah, I agree. Some kids, they don't pay attention to, oh, this is cool, and then, and rip it up.
There was a Wakanda Con, too? Did you hear about that?
No.
There was a Wakanda Con this past. I have no idea. I saw it there was a Wakanda Con, though. Seriously, there is a Wakanda Con now.
That is awesome.
I'll show you pictures like right now.
That is awesome. You know what? If it was in L.A., that would be really, really cool. But
I'm not sure where it was.
I know there's one they have a convention in Chicago, and it's all based on Godzilla.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, there was a Wakanda Con. Wakanda Con Day 2.
But it doesn't tell you where it's at.
No, it doesn't show you where it is.
You're going to have to...
Yeah, the Hilton in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Chicago.
So that's almost like what they're doing for the Godzilla.
Okay. There aren't that many Godzilla fans like that.
Yes, there's a lot of Godzilla fans. Believe it or not. There's fans for everything.
I know.
Everything.
I think Konami's a Godzilla fan.
Are you, Konami? And the audience is silent.
I take it back. I guess he's not a god.
No, you just, he's like, what? You just let out my most secret of secrets.
Yeah, there was a WakandaCon.
Oh my God. That's really cool. I think, you know, bringing Marvel and all these different characters to light is really exciting for so many people. It opens the door for so many people to be nerds and to be geeky, whatever they want, to dress up into anything. But it also opens the door for different cultures to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you don't have to be like a nerd to go to these cons.
No.
You just go check it out.
You're a nerd anyway. So.
Yeah, I'm going.
Don't try and back out of that.
Yeah. I'm going, but it's like there's people who go there for the first time just to see the cosplay, just the lingo, just to get the culture, what it is now. It's so huge now. It wasn't like this like 5-10 years ago.
No, and you didn't have cons for specific things, but I think that's really exciting. You know, you had Comic-Con, but the Star Wars celebration has been going on a long time. I think the one you see in 2019 will be the 19th one. Okay. So it's been going on for 18 years because they skipped this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been going on every year since I think 2000, but they skipped 18 because they wanted it in a special place. It's going to be in Chicago, and unfortunately, I can't go.
Oh, that's the one you can't go to.
Yeah, I can't go to it. I mean, I really would like to, but man, you know, I went to Florida last time, and it can get kind of pricey to be driving around. To be flying around all over.
Yeah.
I'm not bougie like some people.
Johnson Daddy with the red bottom.
With the red bottom shoes. So I mean, I can't be flying around all over the place. So today, our top 10 favorite books. So let me give you a little bit of background, because as you know,
I'm not a Star Wars book reader either.
Did you assemble a little?
I do have a list of books I do want to check out.
Of a must read.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
Okay. All right. So before I do that, you know, I always have a little history. So I was writing it last night. Before Star Wars hit the silver screen of packed movie theaters, the story was presented in an earlier version via the Word. So it was out in book form before it hit the movie theaters. And you can say that the fans were book fans before they were movie fans. So I thought that was kind of cool. And it came out 5 months prior to the film's release. So it's evident that, you know, a lot of fans were really, really excited about seeing the movie before it came out because of the book.
It's almost like Mark. He doesn't watch the movies really. He reads
the books. He reads the books.
You're mad. Don't get mad at Mark. He's trying.
Now, I have a friend here today. Her name is Dominique, and I'll give you a little bit of history on her. She is a big Twilight fan and read all of the books and loves the music. And I remember her and her friend Venetia sitting in the car listening to the soundtrack before the movie came out. So I thought that was kind of cool. You know, that's the excitement that builds around the movies of these really, really cool books. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the same kind of feeling that was going on with Star Wars. I mean, you didn't have internet. You didn't have, that kind of thing. It was more word of mouth. Hey, this book is good. You need to, and it was the bestsellers list. Gave people that, oh, I got to read this. Yeah. There was no internet back then. 1977. I could only imagine in 1977 if there had been internet.
That's a genuine, authentic way, though.
Yes.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth. Mm-hmm. And that's how you knew it was really good.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, people get paid to say, oh, it was really good. And you go see the movie and you're like, really? I did not like that.
That's like nowadays right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. People will say this movie is good or that movie's, and then you go to see it and you're like, no, I really didn't like it all that much, or it wasn't as true to the book as it should be.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Are you still with me, Aaron?
I am.
Okay.
Of course.
Star Wars would surpass all boundaries, just as a movie, the Star Wars galaxy would become a setting for legends. So the movie was really establishing something, and it was establishing this really wonderful galaxy, and people wanted more. They're like, you know what? We see this. What else is there to it?
Were they novels? Were those books novels? Were they novels then?
Star Wars, the original Star Wars movie, was a novel prior to coming out as a movie.
Okay.
So he was kind of smart. Remember I said he was the Bill Gates of books and games and stuff. He and toys. he actually released that. You know, it was the screenplay, but it was also in book form,
Gotcha.
so that people would read this and say, you know what, I want to see this movie. That's why when you see pictures of Grauman's Chinese Theater, it's packed.
Yeah. People were camped out.
Right, because they wanted to see it, and that's actually a very, very smart thing to do.
Yeah.
As far as wanting to make sure people went and saw your movie, and I mean, it was sold out for how long?
Yeah,
months and months.
Yeah, George Lucas goes a whole nother different route compared to a lot of people too.
Yes, exactly. And he was like the Bill Gates, you know, with Apple Computer and then with you know iTunes and all of this other stuff. He was that kind of visionary, but he was a visionary of the galaxy and Star Wars and books and games and toys.
Yeah, he did it all.
Yes, and he did it all without the internet. Okay, so as the sequel films were in works, creator George Lucas opened his universe to exploration by other storytellers. So that's how you see all of these books coming out, because he said, you know what? Let's open it up and see what people got.
Yeah.
And he was smart. And now here's the thing. We talked about comic books and we talked about the Marvel ones. Comic book tales came first. Mm-hmm. So, and it provided a medium that would hold the standards of the genesis of Star Wars universe. He used the comic books because why? He knew more kids read it.
Yeah, more kids read the comic books, yeah.
That's right. So, I mean, it's kind of a very smart thing to do, because you're not going to hand a kid a novel and tell them, read this, but they're going to read the comic books. Yeah.
There's pictures and all kinds of stuff.
That's right. So it gives you that visual. Within a year, the Star Wars movie release, Alan Dean's novel, Splinter of the Mind's Eye, became a bestseller. That's how he knew he had it. Splinter of the Mind's Eye.
Is that in this book?
Yep, and I actually have it. But it's not first.
Okay.
It was the first book release, but it's not in chronological order. It is not the first book.
Gotcha.
Because then afterwards they wrote all this other stuff, and it kind of went back 2,500 years. So they couldn't. Splinter of the Mind had to do with what's going on with Luke and Leia. So in order for them to write the 2,500 years back, that book couldn't go first.
Okay.
Even though it was the very first book. And it ended up on the bestsellers list, so they knew they had it right there. Since that time, over 200 full-length novels have expanded the Star Wars story, and over 100 juvenile novels opened the door for young readers into the life of reading. The books went from, this is interesting too, the books went from 1976 to 1983, then they stopped, and then they go back, then they start again in 1991 to present day, and still going strong.
Still going strong today.
Yeah, still going strong. So here was the interesting thing. From 1987 to 1990, many regarded the Star Wars brand as dormant, but there was one publisher actively expanding the universe with new stories, characters, and lore. It was West End Games. Produced the original Star Wars role-playing game and supplemented it with a vast series of source books, guides, adventures, modules. The foundation of the expanded universe were being quietly built by the role-playing game before the relaunch of the novels in 1991. I looked that up on Amazon because I have this book and I want to get everything in it. So I looked up the West End Games. On Amazon, someone is asking $1,000 for the role-play game.
What?
Yes, $1,000. So there may not be very many of them out there. There's a couple of juvenile books that I need for one of the series, and I'm on 12 and 13. Those are the ones I need. Those books are $30 a piece.
That's still pricey.
Yeah, that is very pricey. I've been looking all over the place to try and get that. But my husband has read over 70 of these books in here. Everything with the X in it is what he's read. And he's always asking me, what else is there? What else is there? What is there more? Because I can see from just his reading and how interested he got in it that these stories are deep.
Yeah, that has to be, because for him not to watch the movies and to like the books, it has to be just like
that the stories are deep. So Aaron, I want to know your top. How many books do you have?
I have 5 actually, but there was actually 2 in here. There was Annihilation, this one, the Old Republic one, and there was not Fatal Alliance, but it was Knight Errant, because one of my friend Dev told me about this book. But there was also based off the Battlefront game, the first one that came out for PlayStation 2. There's a Battlefront like Wars Company one, and there was also it's not really a book or a novel, but of course Galen Merrick has a what? And what?
I knew it.
What do you mean you knew
I
it?
knew because I know you.
Yes, and of course. So the Star Killer book is real, and it goes. It's the quest of
Yeah, it is in here.
It's in here.
Yeah, it's in here. I have to look, but while you're talking, I'll try and find it.
Yeah, because I want to know. I want to know about what it's more. It's more about his clones, and I want to know more about that when he found them.
Yes.
He went in the room that
There's
he was
the splinters of the Minai.
Okay. Oh, that's the one you were just talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, but he went into a room he wasn't supposed to go into, and when he flicked the light and it goes down like down the corridor or down the hallway, he sees all those clones. There's like 100 clones in there.
Yes.
That's why he doesn't even know like whether if he's living through someone else's memories or not, because he doesn't know what clone is he. He don't know what number he is.
He is. What is he? Number 99.
He might. He could be. There's a possibility he could be.
Yeah.
But what's crazy, just looking in the beginning of these books, like there were a couple that like I seen at Barnes and Nobles that I've like wanted to check out.
I tell you,
a lot of KOTOR books though are in here, but the Jedi Apprentice one, he read this one. Mark read this one. He read the Jedi Apprentice. He got an X right there next to it.
Yes, they're all. He's read all of them.
I want to one day get Devin on this podcast because Devin he read a lot of Star Wars books.
I'll have to find the ones that you want. But I have both of those books.
Uh-huh.
And I have all of the books that you've said right now.
You have KOTOR, like the Old Republic books, though?
Yes. I have
those are
everything that's outlined in yellow. I have these books.
Oh, okay.
I am 50 books away from having everything in this.
Really?
Except for the West End games, which I'm not spending $1,000 for.
That's insane, though.
I love him, but not that much.
But the Vader book, too.
Yeah, everything. Everything that's in there that you see outlined in yellow, I have.
But the Dark City, that was the book that you let me borrow, huh? Was it the Dark Cities book? It was the Sith. The Sith book.
Yes, the Sith book.
I wanted you to bring that back again so I could, like,
he has to revisit the Sith book.
Yeah, because there were some things that really...
Yeah, I have all of the X-Wing ones. There's 9 books in that series. I have all of them.
Oh, the Rogue Squadron series.
Yes,
the X-Wing series.
everything. I'm going to have to show him a picture of it after the show. I have everything, and everything that's outlined in yellow I have. So, I mean, we started off with just one book, and that was Kenobi. And I fell in love. And
I can easily say, of course it was Kenobi. That's how you said, of course it was Galen. Of course it was Kenobi.
Yes. But you know what? It was 2 things, and I said last week when we talked about the Clone Wars, I said that I fell in love with Kenobi during Clone Wars, but I also fell in love with them during reading Kenobi because it really, really is a good book. And I'm hoping that they make a movie based on that.
The book itself.
The book itself, because it is really, really good. And there's only a smidgen of Luke in it. Mm-hmm. But what goes on and how he helps this woman and kind of falls for her. You know he's a player. But he kind of falls for her. And the story that goes along with it is really great. It was very well written. And it kind of makes me sad that this is no longer considered canon. It's EU. Mm-hmm. But I don't care. Everything in here.
At this point, does it really matter, though?
No. To me, it doesn't.
No, yeah, exactly.
To me, it doesn't.
It doesn't matter either.
So, okay. So what else is on your list?
Actually, you know what, Angie, that might... But a lot of it for our comics, there's also a comic with... I think Nam told me about this comic. I want to say it was Nam. He told me about it a while ago. It's Chewbacca's son. It wasn't you, huh? No. Chewbacca's son and Han Solo's other son. There's a comic book, a Dark Horse comic. It was made by Dark Horse. They're not even in business anymore, I don't think.
Dark Horse is.
They're still in business?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big.
Yeah, the writer for Predator, for Alien, actually wrote this comic book. It's like pretty dark.
I got a really cool bag from Comic-Con. I'm going to have to give you that.
It has a Dark Horse comic in it?
It's a Dark Horse comic.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They had a booth there?
Yes. You know I spoil you.
Andy does look it up, though.
Patrick's saying yes.
He got some stuff, too. I actually gave the dice to him.
Did you really?
So Nam and
okay, I'm gonna see if Nick's got another one.
They both cried too.
They cried? Oh, yeah. I love it.
Just a little bit.
Okay, so I'm gonna go over the top 15 must-read books. Must read. So the 15 is called Bloodlines, which I do have. Focuses on the politics of the New Republic as seen through the eyes of Princess Leia. That's really cool.
That should be interesting.
Yes.
Is that in here too?
The Bloodlines, I'm not sure if... no, that's a newer one.
Okay.
That's a newer one. So there's some books that they've rewritten or revisited, and those ones I don't have yet because I'm still trying to get all these ones. Once I'm done getting those ones, then I'll go to the new ones. Those, by the time I finish, I should be somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 books.
300 Star Wars books?
300 Star Wars
books. And how many
books.
did Mark read?
He's read 70 so far.
Oh, wow.
70 so far, so that's really cool. The Star Wars Battlefront Twilight Company. It's a gritty and visual world of the galaxy's civil war. So that's number 14 to read. Number 13 is Aftermath. It's in the middle of the road Star Wars book, and it's currently the only canon information we have between Jedi and Force Awakens.
Okay.
So it's just, they said it's not
it's not really a...
Yeah, they said Aftermath
really
is, well, they're saying it's vital that it fits in for both of them, and it's a canon book. But like I said, you know, a lot, you're talking about 40 years of Star Wars, and you're going to tell people, okay, these books are no longer count. People get angry because they're saying, well, how could you say these don't count? Because the story fits in here and there. You know, so it kind of made people angry. So now, before it was everything's out, now it's EU, Expanded Universe.
Okay.
So this one looked really, really cool. Number 12, it's Darth Maul, son of Dathomir. I do not have that. Need we say more about this?
That one, that's one of the ones that's at Barnes and Noble like right now.
I think it's a new one.
Yeah.
It shows him being captured by Darth Sidious, and he makes a play. He uses him to lure Mother Talzin out so he can kill her.
Oh, okay, so
because she's a threat. Remember,
he was just a guinea pig then.
Yeah,
basically.
that poor guy's gotten used to the whole time. You know how we talk about General Grievous was at the wrong place at the wrong time?
Yeah.
Darth Maul is just the dude that's just got used over and over and over.
Should we feel bad for any of these people though? Probably not.
Yes.
No, we can't feel bad.
Well,
for Darth Maul.
I don't feel bad. Well, General Grievous is gone now, so we know that Darth Maul was killed because he does eventually get killed for the second time by Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
And he gets killed in the Rebels.
He does get killed.
If anyone hasn't seen that, I'm sorry, I just spoiled that for you. Okay, number 11, Splinter of the Mind's Eye. It's the oldest one and the most unique novel. Remember I said that one came out first. The story follows Luke and Leia on a secret mission to persuade the inhabitants of a planet to join the Rebel Alliance.
It's like a few episodes like that on Star Wars Clone Wars.
Yes, yes. You know, you see them use it over and over, but this was the original idea.
It's the politics behind it.
Yes, yes. And it was actually written right after Star Wars came out. So George was smart to bring these people in and say, hey, let's see what you got. You know, and if I'm sure not every book made it in. If it was something that was like, I really can't feel that, I can't get behind it. But you're seeing what, 200 books?
Yeah, still.
This was during that time frame of 77 to present day.
Yeah. Well, that book, this book is that. Could you still find this book like
Splinter of the Mind's Eye?
Yeah.
Yes, because I got it on Thrifty Books.
On what?
It's called Thrifty Books.
Oh, Thrifty Books? Okay.
Yes. Dominique knows that. I showed her that site. That could be very dangerous for her as well. She is a avid reader. I'm giving out all her secrets right now. So number 10 is the New Jedi Order series. I have a few of these books. I don't have all of them. They total 19. There are 19 of the these ones are 19 in the series. The X-Wing series had 9. The Jedi Apprentice, there are 18 books in that series, and I have all 18 of those.
Okay.
And the 2 extra that went with it.
The Shatterpoint one is looking really interesting to me.
Yes. That's actually a really good book. Mark said that was excellent.
Yeah, did he?
And he did read it.
Yeah. I was like, what is that? He
did read it. Now, how about this one? This one, Mark said, was really, really a good book. I mean, there's 3 of them, and he said it was super interesting. It was the Darth Bane series, The Rule of Two, the ancient Sith that set the standard for the Sith from that point on. He said it was a great book. He said the very end, and I won't say too much about it because I don't want to spoil it, but you're kind of curious did he live or did he die? And we know that his spirit is left on that planet that Yoda visits.
Yeah. Because that's the eerie part of it.
Yeah. So it kind of leaves you up in the air. And I like the way Clone Wars encompassed him into one of the shows. Mm-hmm. And it kind of makes you think, well, okay, so is it his spirit? Is he alive? You don't really know. The Sith Lords are sneaky like that.
They're, as we know best.
Yes. The Palpies.
Yeah, the Palps. Can't stand that guy.
Oh my gosh. How about Lord of the Sith? Emperor Palpatine, Darth Vader are ambushed by a force of freedom fighters while they're visiting a Twi'lek planet, Ryloth. They spend the rest of the book trying to survive the hostile planet long enough for reinforcements to arrive. That one would be good to read. They struggled. Now,
No way.
I can see Darth Vader struggling because, remember, he's wearing all that heavy stuff. He's got to be plugged in every once in a while like your phone.
Yeah, he does have to charge, huh?
Because I think in the movies, that's what he does you see him
When
in
he's
that
his
like
pod?
that pod
Yeah.
and he comes out of it. I think he's like charging his units and stuff like that. Everything's plugged in.
Yeah, because he's mostly not even human. He's mostly
No,
machine.
he's more robot than human. Didn't we hear
absolutely.
that Obi-Wan say that? In the famous words of Obi-Wan. How about number 7, the X-Wing books? Those are the ones I said I have, the 9 of them. The books follow the story of the everyday soldier.
See, that has to be a good one.
Yeah, but we're talking about the rebel pilots, not the Clone Wars, but the rebel pilots. Yeah.
That's what makes Rogue One so good.
Yes,
Because it was a story about them, the people we don't see.
Yeah, the average guys out there in the trenches, and unfortunately, everybody gets killed. But
what made it good.
That's what made it good. If you haven't seen the movie, I'm so sorry.
No, they should have been solid. I'm not gonna feel bad for them. No, they should have been solid. But that's what made Rogue One so that no one could have lived. Like
no.
No, not for those plans. Those plans were everything to everybody.
Yeah, and it was what people were willing to do. It was what people and different creatures were willing to do for the Republic.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know that a lot of lives are lost in this battle, even clones, and in even stormtroopers. These guys were not just disposable either. They were, at this point, they were human people that were just signing up.
They were just recruited.
Yeah. They didn't know what they were getting themselves into.
We kind of talked about like the clones last week, like how like with the Clone Wars, the actual series, the cartoon series, showed them like in their everyday life. So it made you even feel more bad for them when they were on the battlefield and they were dying.
Yeah. When they were getting older or they were just being killed off, they were nothing. But I will say that the Jedi always made them feel like they were important. Like you're important to me, and they stressed that so many times. But unfortunately, at the very end, Order 66, they had that chip in their head where they didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's too bad. But a few of them escaped, and they were the smart ones. Number 6 is the Old Republic, Revan. This one, lots of people love this Dark Lord, and he's from the Knights of the Old Republic. And when they said it was out, a lot of people were very angry because who doesn't love, so many people played that game and came to love that character.
Yeah. You speak about that character a lot, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Revan.
Yeah, so I mean, he's pretty awesome. He did come back. His book does count, and he is also a Black Series doll.
It's canon. Oh, that you finally got.
Yes, I should have bought it in the first place. I was so mad at myself. I said, "Dang it! Next time I see a collectible that I want, I'm not going to hesitate. I'm just going to buy the thing."
Yeah, you got it.
I
made
did.
Sure you got it.
Yes, and when I was at Comic-Con, this guy's like, "Okay, it's $35." I'm like, all right. I remember the aisle where I'm at. I went down one other aisle, I got it for $25. So I'm like, yay! And I paid $5 more than what it originally was at the other convention. So I did pay a little bit more, but it wasn't super pricey.
You got what you wanted.
But I got what I wanted.
Absolutely.
I got my Revan doll. That's all I cared about. Darth Plagueis. It has a slow start, but an awesome ending. I read this, and it's very political. He kills his master in the beginning, and then it goes back to when he was a young man and met Plagueis. And it at the very end, you were like, what? Who? What? How? What? And I won't tell you because I want you to read that because like I said, it was really kind of dragging in the beginning, and then it just got better and better and better. And at the very end, you were like, "Oh my God, this guy is bad."
And I'm naturally a Sith too, so
Yes, and you'll mesh right into that. All right, so number 4 is Tarkin. Tells us the story tells us the story of his rise to the rank of Grand Moff.
I wonder what that. Did you read that?
No, Mark did. He read it. I actually got it for him on his Kindle, and I have that one on the Kindle, but I'm still going to get it because I want the hard copy.
Okay.
So I like hard copy books, even though if something ever happened in my house, I don't even know how I would grab all these books. If the house is burning, the books are going.
Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
There's no time to grab 200 books. All right, so this one was kind of odd. Number 3, it is a Marvel's Dark Vader series.
Yeah.
That has got to be a comic book. So it is on the list as a must-read. Offers an insight to the character's inner struggles between the light and the dark. So even then you see him fighting with himself about being good and being evil.
He probably struggled way more than we think. Darth Vader.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing kind of that struggle, and they're giving us a look at it through Kylo Ren. Because you see that he struggles in the movies where he goes back and forth. He wants to be good. He wants to be bad. I mean, and he goes to the extremes, though. He is, he's willing to prove his point so badly that he actually kills his father.
Yeah. Poor Han. He should have known better, though.
I don't know. Well, that's his son, so of course he's going to walk up to him. But, for him to turn on that saber and stab him, I don't think he quite expected
Chris, if you're
that.
listening, don't ever stab him.
Yeah. Don't give him one.
Yeah, I'm not.
All right, so number 2 was Shadow of the Empire. I do have this one. Luke and Leia, Chewie, Lando are trying to hunt down Boba Fett before he delivers Han Solo to Jabba the Hutt. This one I found really, really amazing. The best single book tale ever. It is the best-selling single book tale ever.
Really?
Yes.
Just for any book?
Any of the Star Wars books, they said this one is the best single book tale ever in the Star Wars galaxy.
They just show the book is about what we don't even see during that time.
Yes, it's them trying to get him, trying to get Boba Fett before he delivers Han Solo.
How do you get Boba Fett? He's slippery.
I know. I don't know how you can.
I don't know,
but you know what? If you stop and think about it, he gets killed pretty easy.
When they actually do get the chance, it's not.
I mean, the guy goes down real quick.
Yeah.
It's like all the Jedi when they walk in to take Sidious, they all get wiped out in one swoop. You hear about how awesome these guys are, and they're like, what?
That's usually how it goes, though. Like the people who you think are, you know what I mean?
Are awesome. They walk in all bad, and they're like, yeah, well, not so much.
Here was the Darth Plagueis book right here.
Yes. So number 1 was Heir to the Empire trilogy, the Thrawn trilogy.
That is
the original Thrawn. Now they've rewritten it, and it's by the same guy, but they rewrote the books. But the original ones, the books followed the escapades of the rebels 5 years after the Battle of Endor. It appears that the New Republic is finally winning the war. The last remnants of the Imperial forces are driven back to the Outer Rim. However, tides are about to turn under the guidance of Grand Admiral Thrawn. The Empire is set to make one last major push against the heroes. And so they rewrote this again. But I have the original one.
And what's the difference? Is it
I'm not sure what the difference is because I have to look and see what the newer ones are. But I know that they bring Thrawn a little bit into, from what I can understand and from what I'm getting, is they bring Thrawn into the Old Republic.
Okay.
So he's in the New Republic.
Yeah.
But in the other Thrawn, he's actually with Anakin and Padme. So he's in the Old Republic.
That's
time.
crazy. People want to see a Thrawn movie too. A lot of people want to see what happens.
I don't. But here's the question: do they want to see the Thrawn movie from the past,
I would.
or Thrawn book from the past, or Thrawn book now?
I would want to see it from the past. I would, because there's not really any.
You're so old school.
There's not really. Yeah, there's not really any. We don't have really like over public kind of movie. Like,
no, we don't.
We don't.
If you stop and think about it, the only time we see a major battle with Jedi, is on Geonosis.
Yeah.
That's the only time you see it.
And that's not enough.
No, and they actually don't battle Sith. They battle the droids.
Exactly.
You know, I'm not the droids. Are they droids?
Yeah,
or
the
they?
droid,
The droid army.
Mm-hmm.
So they battle the droids. They don't even battle the Sith. And then when the only Sith that fights against him, he wipes them all out.
Yeah, and that's why the KOTOR game and the games and the books are so popular, because we don't get Jedi and Sith that much, really.
Right, right. And I think that's why so many people were drawn to it. Now, for me, here's my list. Kenobi.
No duh.
He rocked the bells for me. I'm not even going to say anything more. The book was wonderful.
No surprise there.
No. And number 2 was the Dark Plagueis book, which was excellent. Number 3, which I'm still in the process of reading all. Mark passed me at like 25 books ago. The Jedi Apprentice, I'm on number 14. I love this series. It has to do with Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan as a Padawan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's going back
saw
from
that in
when.
here too.
Yes, from when it was originally Qui-Gon and Xantos, who was his original apprentice. Padawan. And then it goes to where Obi-Wan wants to become it, and there's a few other kids that want to become his Padawan, but it ultimately is Obi-Wan. But then Obi-Wan steps away from the Jedi, and because of a girl on a planet.
Yeah.
So, it follows it all the way up to there.
There's also no surprise there either.
No, he seemed to be wooed by women.
What happened to him?
Obi-Wan? Or
Xantos.
He eventually dies.
Okay.
He chooses death rather than stand trial for his crimes.
Gotcha.
Because he eventually joins the dark side. In one of the apprentice books, he joins the dark side. He gets one of the kids from the Jedi temple to become bad too. So he's just not a good guy. Let me just put it that way. He's not a good guy. All right. So the Dark Lord rises. It's of Darth Vader. Dark Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader. Let me say it that way. That is such a good book. And he actually, in that book, he goes and he's on a planet, and that's where his daughter is. And Alderaan. He's on Alderaan. And he kind of brushes where she is, where Leia is, but he doesn't really see her.
Oh, okay.
So that was so cool. That's really a good book. I don't think there's been a book that I have read in the Star Wars galaxy that I haven't liked yet.
It's probably possible.
I'm sure that it is, but I've not gotten to where Mark's at, where all the X's are. So I'm not there.
That's
yet.
insane that he's read all these books.
Yes.
Every book has an X in here.
Yeah, almost every book.
Doesn't care for the movies.
Doesn't care for the movies. All right, so this is something that people always say. The movie is good, but the books are better. Yeah. And that is so true. And a lot of times you'll see a movie and you're like, but a lot of this was taken out. I read The Hunger Games. The books were really good, really depressing. The movie kind of did some justice to it, but I think it's too hard to put so much in the movie that is in the book, because then you're going to be looking at a 6-hour movie and you lost people after 4 hours.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings really tries to cover as much, but yet they even miss some things, because it's just there's too much in it.
You can't. Books have all the detail.
Yeah, and it's really important to read to your kids. I read to my kids when they were younger, and when you have Star Wars books that are readily available for little kids and for scholastic readers in the 6th, 7th grade, kind of thing, it opens a world to so much. And that's why I think books are so important. And in that aspect, I think George Lucas did a really good job of doing that. Yeah. Really making people hungry. Because if you had done the movies and really not done anything else, do you think it would be as popular?
No, not at all. Because the first book was a bestseller. Yeah, it was popular. It was why people wanted to see the movie in the first place.
Right. And then the second book that they released after the movie is on the New York bestsellers list. I don't think there's been a book in the Star Wars galaxy that hasn't hit, the bestseller on New York's list.
Yeah, people want to read these stories, for sure. And I need to do a lot more Star Wars reading. I have to admit, I read comic books. My comic book collection is like...
I saw it. It's pretty deep.
It's immense. Yeah, it's no joke. Some I haven't even opened yet.
But yet, it's something. It's written in a way that you like to read it.
Yeah, because I like storyboard. So that's how I like to read that's why I like to read comic books.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's sometimes hard to sit down and read. For me, I've had a long time trying to get through the 14th book because I'll sit down and I'll read like 2-3 pages and then fall asleep because I'm like doing a million things in a day, and so it's hard for me to get myself to sit down and read it. But when you do it, it's what you see in your mind, and you can imagine these stories, just like reading some of these like Revan and stuff. You just imagine in your mind, wow, this is and they kind of write it in a way where you can, you can imagine it. It comes to life in your mind.
Yeah. And Star Wars is known for having good writing, movies, books, whatever it is.
Right. And there's some of the guys that have written like this Jedi Apprentice, they've gone on to do a lot of the scholastic stuff. And George, from what I understand and from what I've read, he has read all of these books because he has to read them in order to approve them.
Mm-hmm.
So he's up there with Mark.
Yeah, that's great.
Except he's somewhere in the 200 mark.
Yeah, he's read all of his books. Really.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. But I mean, some of these where they say they're out, I kind of disappoints me because there's so many that are important that weave a story into what we're seeing. Because they want to go back in time. They want to talk about what happened before we saw Phantom Menace, and these books cover that. Yeah. Especially the Jedi Apprentice. It covers what happened in the Jedi Temple. The Shatterpoint book. It's what happens to, and we don't see a lot of Mace Windu, but it's what happens with Mace Windu on this planet.
Yeah, was that what the
Shatterpoint is. Yeah.
That one looks interesting. I want to check that one out.
Yeah, and I mean, I think this is the one where Bruck gets killed. They're fighting, and he falls from a waterfall. Now, interesting enough, when I wrote my, because for our cards, because I'm part of Saber Guild, and we have to have a picture, and we have to have a story with it. I read that story, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to incorporate my character, into the story of what happens with Obi-Wan and Bruck Chung.
Okay.
So my name was Harissa, and the funny story about that is, we have a sandwich that's at the restaurant, and I like the name Harissa, so I made myself Harissa Chung. And she finds out that her brother was killed at the temple by Obi-Wan, but he really wasn't. He slipped and fell off the waterfall. So she doesn't know that, but she becomes friends with Xantos, who is Qui-Gon Jinn's ex Padawan, and learns the dark side from him, so that she can get even, Aurelia can get even with Obi-Wan and the Jedi.
Actually sounds like a movie plot for sure.
Yeah. We actually have to come up with a really long kind of thing, and then what happens is, because the cards are so small, we have to use 52 words. Okay. Only 52 words, so I'm like trying to make it shorter. Yeah, make it shorter, but I want to keep all the meat and potatoes in it. So you know what's going on.
You gave a few people some cards last week, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, you did.
Do you still? Patrick still has it.
Yeah.
So next week, I thought it'd be really cool to talk about, and I saw this online when I was looking up these books, Star Wars places to visit here on Earth.
Oh.
There's a top 10 of all the places where they filmed, and I thought, you know what? That's kind of cool. We're going to talk about that.
A lot of desert. Is there?
Well, remember on when they're on Endor, there's a lot of they're in the forest.
So there's some desert and some pasture.
There's some desert, and I believe, from what I can remember, now this is not just the last three. The last 3 movies, actually, we can't say that anymore because now we're on 8 movies.
We're on 8 now.
So A New Hope to Return of the Jedi, those were, I think, more desert and then the forest. But then when you go back to Attack of the Clones, I think they're in Hawaii.
Really?
And Italy, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So you can visit those places. Like I watched the show Versailles, and I told Mark, if I ever go to France, I want to visit Versailles. Because I love Louis XIV. He's so hot. I don't know if the real guy was that hot, but boy, the one that plays him is. He's smoking.
Did The Last Jedi grow on you yet?
No. I've only watched it 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
I need to watch it some more. I don't know. It's like pulling teeth. I don't know.
It's not that bad.
I don't think it's that bad. I just don't like. I don't know. I don't want to
like
see a
pulling
porg
teeth.
get eaten. Actually, the porg does not get eaten.
No. Give it another shot. I watched it yesterday.
Did you?
I did.
I mean, I guess if I watch it some more, I might, see some things that I missed that I didn't see the first time or the second time.
But you feel like you saw everything.
Yeah, I do. I mean, and like I said, it still counts in with the movies and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't know. I don't know.
If you hear that, Andy still doesn't like it.
I'm still on the fence. Well, here's a fair thing. I'm still on the fence.
I don't think you mean that. I think you just don't like The Last Jedi at all.
I just don't like the unsurety of everybody. Everybody's unsure. Everybody doesn't know what's going on. It does have a feel of The Empire Strikes Back, and I don't know if you recognize some of the things in there, because in The Empire Strikes Back, remember when Luke goes to where Yoda is, and I can't think of the name of the planet right now. But his plane crashes and is in the water.
Yeah, it's in the water. Yeah.
So when you see The Last Jedi, what do you look down in the ocean?
And his
it's in the water.
Is in the water.
Yeah.
I think that was just an ode to that movie.
Yeah, and when he's on the planet, he is. Gosh, why can't I think of the planet right now? He
acts like Yoda a little bit.
Well, he kind of does, because remember, it was kind of like in this real mossy kind of area and stuff. And does Patrick know the name of the planet?
No, he does not know. No.
Someone needs to Google it. Steven? No, it's not Hoth. Hoth is the ice planet. And so it's where Yoda is. Dagobah. There we go. Dagobah. I knew it would click in real quick. But it's the mossy planet and stuff. And so when you see Luke on that planet, it's almost the same thing, except he had a lot of help. He had a lot of those ladies were helping. Mm-hmm. I didn't like the way he milked that cow. I just went.
That bothered you that bad?
It bothered me. It bothered me.
It just showed that's how he's living.
It's icky.
There's been worse stuff in Star Wars though.
I know, and I'm going to use that word, icky.
Star Wars has some of the nastiest things I've ever seen. Like, yeah, that's to me that's like normal Star Wars like comedy. Like, of course it's gross, but you know what I mean? Like, they're in outer space. What do you expect?
I know, and I think it was green milk. It wasn't actually
blue. It was like
blue.
It was like bluish kind. It was on his mustache.
That makes it even worse.
Be nice, Angie.
I did like, the one thing I will say is I did like when she went down in that area and she did her finger and there was like 10 of them.
Yeah.
That was kind of weird because it kind of makes you wonder, what is it that she's seeing? I don't know the significance behind that.
Of that, yeah. I just want to know what was. I think that's why Luke was there too, because that place was strong with the
Force. But what is it? What was it about that? And then when she was there, and then you had her and Kylo Ren communicating with each other. Either that's a brother and sister thing, or that's some sort of communication where they can literally see each other.
Snoke said he helped strengthen like the signal between them for that to actually happen. Though.
For them to actually connect.
Yeah, connect. Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought that was because with Luke and Leia, remember in oh my gosh, which one was it? Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back.
At the very end, he's hanging off that thing at Cloud City, and she goes and he calls her, and she's like, "We have to turn around." That was actually the very first time she gets that sense from him. So they can communicate with each other, but they can't see each other.
Yeah.
But with Rey and Kylo Ren, they could see each other.
She even had he even got water on him.
Right. So they did have that really strong connection. So that's kind of cool. I mean, I guess I'm going to have to revisit that.
Yeah, watch it again.
All right.
Good.
I'll do that for you.
Good. It's not that bad. It's not that bad of a movie.
I don't. You know what? Like I said, I recognize it as one of the movies. It's not my favorite. It really isn't my. I don't identify with it. Now, like I said, I have friends that have told me they do not like movies 1, 2, and 3. They don't even watch them.
episodes 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, they don't like them. They don't watch them.
There's a lot of those.
So but you know what? Same can be said about The Last Jedi then.
People hate Solo. People hate that movie.
I don't know why. It was really good.
People hate it though. There's people who hate it, like they don't like it at all.
I think it kind of it gave you how he got his name. You figured out what happened, what happened to him and how he got involved with these smugglers.
Yeah.
And what he did. He was a conniving guy from the get-go. And I mean, he was doing what he had to do. But when he meets with when he meets Princess Leia, I think his life kind of changes.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Because he says, I want to get my money and I'm going to get out of here. But he really doesn't because he goes back and helps Luke.
Yeah, he doesn't leave.
And then he comes back again. And he's willing to forfeit paying Jabba to stay with her.
Yeah.
To stay with Leia. So, I mean, he was with Kira in the Solo movie. And maybe that was maybe people didn't like the fact that he was with Kira. But, I mean, it's like Obi-Wan. He had other love interests.
Obi-Wan, he had plenty.
He had plenty, yes.
He's like Bruce Wayne. He's kind of like Bruce Wayne to me. Obi-Wan.
Yeah, he could be. Plagueis is the only one who's never been attached to anybody.
Because
he's creepy anyways.
Yeah.
He's that creepy uncle.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're almost near the end of our show. And like I said, next week we're going to be talking about places you can visit that were scenes from Star Wars. Who wouldn't want to do that? I went to Forks to see all the stuff from Twilight. It was great. Yeah, I went to Washington.
Oh, saw the whole...
Yes, it was wonderful. I loved it. I went to Forks. I went to La Push. I went to Port Angeles just to see all the different places. I saw the Cullens house. I saw the houses and I saw the areas where everybody was at. I saw the school. I saw, oh my gosh, I can't think of her name right now. Bella's house. So that was really fun.
Have you seen it too, Dom? Have you...
Dominique's read the books. She's
Yeah.
a big fan. That's our silent audience back there. So like I said, next week we're going to be going into that. And like I said, I will be at the Star Wars Day. It's Movie in the Park in Hesperia on August 18th from 6 to 8. I'm going to be there with the Rebel Legion, and I'm going to be there with the 501st. Looking forward to seeing everyone. And from here at Radio Geonosis, we're going to say goodbye. And Aaron?
Catch us on YouTube, iTunes, OKN TV, a network started by these gentlemen right here.
Yes.
Twitter, Instagram, everywhere, pretty much.
And
everywhere.
Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook.
And we should have our show up later on tonight. So from everyone of us here at Radio Geonosis, bye.
Peace out.